Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I, Dr. Pooja Thakur, Assistant Professor, Department of Psychology, Rai University, Ahmedabad. Heartily invite, uh, heartily welcome you all, faculties, students, research scholars, parents, academicians, members from various NGO on World Autism Awareness Day. World Autism Awareness Day is an internationally recognized day on 2nd April every year, encouraging member states of the United Nations to take measures to raise awareness about people with autistic spectrum disorders throughout the world. I especially welcome our chief guest, Mr. Sundar Rajan, the President of Autism Society of India, Bangalore. The Autism Society of India was founded by parents and professions in 2006. The aim of Autism Society of India is to function as a national body for concentrate concerted action on all matters related to persons with autism spectrum disorder and their families. The objectives are aimed to improving the quality of life of individuals with ASD by securing for them all fundamental rights as enjoyed by all citizens under the Constitution of India. Here with us we have Professor Virendra Singh Nagoria, Deputy Registrar Academics, Rai University, and Dr. Ashish Rami, Director, Center for Research and Development, HOD, Rai School of Management Studies, Rai University, Ahmedabad. Thank you all for being part of this webinar. So now I request our chief guest, Mr. Sundar Rajan, sir, share some words on this day.
Yeah, good afternoon to everybody. As Pooja Ban has introduced myself as Sundar Rajan, I am President of Autism Society of India, and moreover, I am also a parent of a boy with autism. His age is almost 28 years old now. I have a daughter also who is almost 23 years old, who is a normal sibling. Why I am mentioning about my daughter is I want all of you to know that it is not a hereditary, or it is not, this particular disability is not related to any kind of hereditary or any kind of issues. This particular disability called autism can occur to anybody. Today in India, if you happen to notice, it took almost more than 10 years for us to impress upon the government that autism is a very important disability to be addressed. And of late only, the particular autism has been included in the Person with Disability Act in 2016. So since then, we are also very excited that government also has given a recognition to this particular disability. This disability is not a easy disability to handle like any other spectrum disability. There are certain features of this disability which I would like to highlight to all of you. Of all around 30 to 40 years of research have been conducted in this particular disability, there's no known reason that has been found why this particular autism occurs in children. So, secondly, the rate of occurrence of autism is almost every 66 children, there are around 3 to 5 children who are born with this disability, which means in the coming days, there will be many more children being born with autism, and we cannot do anything about it because we don't know the causes and reasons to prevent and things. So the only resource that's available to us is the structure to understand the problem, address the problem, and create support structure for the parents and the parents that may come to in future also, given the circumstances that we are facing today. So under these circumstances, we at Autism Society of India, being preferably a advocacy organization, We don't conduct any educational program or anything, but we believe in advocacy, and we believe in coordinating with all the parents and see how well we can support all our parents in empowerment. In this particular disability, there are various age spectrums, and there are two major division in this particular autism disability. One is we call it high functioning. The high functioning are it's very exciting to understand and note high functioning, how they operate and how they function. Sometimes they are mathematical genius, sometimes they are, you will be amazed by their performance in their mental capabilities. At the same time, there are another spectrum of these children who are very low spectrum, low functioning children. So low functioning children, again, they have certain abilities, but till it's very difficult for us to identify their ability. Some of them are verbal, some of them are totally non-verbal. So we only have to, and because of their inability to communicate, they have an intention to convey certain message, but they are not able to convey those messages. So due to which they themselves get into kind of a frustration, which we call it meltdown. So we have to deal with such spectrum of disability of autism also. So further, as Autism Society of India, we have mapped children with different age spectrums. That is from up to 7 to 10 years, then 10 to 17 years, then adolescent, then beyond adolescent. So we are trying to map these children's behavior with different ranges, age ranges, and we are trying to see what kind of different problems the parents are facing against these kind of age, different age spectrum, and how to address the problems faced by the parents. And of course, the children are also facing a problem, but bigger problem is faced by your parents because they have to manage their livelihood and they have to manage the special circumstances created by the children to live in the world. So we are trying to balance all these things. If you see from 0 to 7 to 10 years age spectrum, there are a lot of schools available offering special education, special trainings, speech therapy, and etc. So we support our parents to identify fundamentally whether the children are high functioning or low functioning, so they can be adopted and put into the right kind of education structures. There are various courses and therapies offered by different professionals and schools. Now we are trying to analyze and see which are genuine, which are applicable, which are good and bad. And there are some professionals who take advantage in the name of therapy and then to extract some money. So we are trying to identify these areas to see that our parents are going in the right track, identify certain right therapies and publish them. That these are the very certified therapies available in the spectrum which you can go for it. So from up to 10 years, this is the range of activities that we are involved in. Beyond 10 to 20 years, again, we need to work on their abilities and skill developments. And we are also focusing on inclusiveness of these children into the community and society. So for that, if you see, I myself, what I do is wherever I go, I take my child everywhere. Let it be a restaurant or hotel or wherever, or whatever. I don't feel embarrassed about it. And in my general experience, I have been moving with the community very, very, what do you call it, without feeling shy about it. So there are a lot of behavioral issues with my child. But I was very heartened to note that people around me always are, they don't get upset about it, they don't get angry about it, but they really come to support me. I'll give one particular example. I was driving a two-wheeler. In fact, I parked in the wrong side. The police person just lifted my vehicle and he was about to take it. So he has to take a U-turn, come to other end of the road. And I had to hold my child and cross the road to go to the other end to take an auto rickshaw to go to the police station to collect my vehicle. He seen me crossing with my child. Then he stopped his vehicle and he said, "Sir, I can understand your problem." And he just unloaded the vehicle and gave it back to me. So one thing I want to say is by mingling with the society, society equally understands the problem faced by the parents, and they are very, very sensitive about it. And the only thing, we are shy to go to the society and say that there's a problem, and there's no need for us to ask for help for this from the people. They automatically come to help. So in this way, from age 10 to 20, we are trying to sensitize the society, bring in inclusivity to the society, And then from 20 and above, we have a different kind of problem faced by us. Adolescent problems are there. It could be a female child, it could be a male child. Both are having their own set of problems. Now we have a certain levels of panel of experts in our panel, right from NIMANS to everybody are in our panel. So we take their advice to in certain critical issues pertaining to adolescence and then address those problems. So this is a brief activities that we are involved. As Autism Society of India, we will continue to move forward in the same way. I thank Rai University to just come forward and take this particular autism as a big discussion forum. And it is a very great pleasure for me to note that there's so many people who are interested to know. And I would encourage and request all the faculty and the students to take more interest in autism because it is a very, very interesting subject. You get both the mixture of both the things. You get highly functioning, intelligent children also. You will find low functioning children, but hidden intelligence. Maybe you can pick them and drag them out of their intelligence. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us on the topic of World Autism Awareness Day and share your some experience also. I also like to welcome Mr. Michel Pillai, who is Vice President, Western Region Autism Society of India. Please, sir, share your words to audience.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
Who, me?
And Michael, sir.
But unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. There's unmute button there. In the screen, there's an unmute button. Just you have to click there. Michael,
Sir, unmute yourself. The option is available in the bottom of the screen. Symbol like a mic.
There's a small symbol like a mic. You have to unmute it. Just click there, it will get unmuted. Michael, you're able to hear me? I think you have to just unmute yourself. Below there's a symbol with a mic on it. Just you have to click there. So it will get unmuted. So your voice can be heard. I think he's going to take some help. Well, can I say something until the issues are resolved?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah, see, actually, yesterday we had a program in Tamil Nadu on Autism Awareness Day, where there's one of the parent who's located, situated outside India, was asking, I want to come to India, but you don't want to come. So they asked, the members asked, what's the problem? He said, I'm scared to come to India because they have a lot of facilities abroad. So since they have a lot of facilities available abroad, they are hesitant to come to India, getting scared, what will happen to India? Do they have any support structures? So we shared a lot of information with that parent, telling them that comparing to the stringent rules available abroad, India is much more flexible to live. Because after a certain age, I had not been abroad. I was only in Thailand for 6 years only, but I had not been to Western countries. But given whatever experience I'm getting from different parents from abroad, the rules are very stringent. The certain age, certain therapies have to be given, certain medicines have to be compulsorily given. There is no freedom to the parent to choose. So here in India, we have a lot of freedom, and people are more sensitive. Since people are more sensitive to our requirements, I think it is much easier to live here than any other country. I feel that's what I get the experience, and I've been appraising the parent also. If your situation warrants for you to come here, and then if you need to come here, you can come here without any hesitation, any problem. There's the facilities available. There are parent group like us available. There are professionals and schools available, and there are general people who are very sensitive to this disability. Not only this disability, entire spectrum of all the disability, people are sensitive. So far I have not seen anybody mocking at disabled child or disabled parent or something like that. Of course, initially we had a tough time. There will be a lot of parents uh, with a lot of religious belief, asking us to come and do certain rituals and formalities to just get out of the problem. Of course, they care for us, but it stops there. We have to make a choice between ourselves how much to go ahead with those religious rites and how much to understand the reality and get to the reality faster. So the more faster you get, the more you can work on the child and then improve the child and develop the child to a normal extent. My son today, he is not going to any school, he's at home only. We understand his behavior pattern and then we manage his behavior pattern right from myself, my wife, my daughter, all are within the house itself. We have faced the pandemic situations, and in during the pandemic situation itself, I was forced to take my child out once or twice without mask. I was wearing a mask, but the police, upon noticing my child, immediately foregone that thing. He said he advised me, "Don't bring such child; we face more problem." Instead of being harsh on me. So I have absolutely full faith on our community that they will be with us, whatever happens. I think Michael will not come out of his issue.
Thank you, sir.
Michael,
There is a
yeah.
um, some problem by said
Problem with your laptop, I think.
Pillai, sir. So let's go ahead. In India, more than 1 million people might be affected. Autism is
Yeah.
a spectrum disorder which involves complex disorders of brain development. Individuals affected by autism may show difficulties with social interaction, verbal and non-verbal communication, and recitative behavior. This webinar is very useful to all parents, caregivers, and those persons who are working with autistic person and students. I feel glad that students of BA Psychology ONS will manage hold the event. I begin with the first presentation which will be given by Heta Thakur. Yes, Heta, share your
Uh,
presentation.
yes, ma'am. First of all, a very good afternoon to all of you. And I heartily welcome you all on the World Autism Awareness Day. Basically, today I will be talking about the acknowledgement of the autism spectrum disorder. But when we first talk about the autism, so what are autistic children and how they are? So I have quoted a thing that children with autism are colorful. They are often very beautiful and like rainbow. They stand out. Uh, I would share something about what is Autism Awareness Day. So basically, delegates at the United Nations commemorated World Autism Awareness Day on April 2, which is also commemorated globally on this day. World Autism Awareness Day was established by the UN General Assembly on December 18, 2007. Members of the UN General Assembly expressed deep concern regarding the prevalence rates of autism throughout the world and need to address the long-term outcomes for children, families, and communities. The resolution declared that starting April 2, 2008, and on this date each year, representatives of the UN and non-governmental organizations would raise awareness about autism throughout the world, as well as address the fundamental human rights of the person with autism. Uh, this is all you need to know about ASD, which is how we can define autism. In my words, I would define autism as always unique, totally intelligent, sometimes mysterious. Autism spectrum disorder totally portrays the executive functioning, sensory processing, repetitive behaviors, motor skills, preservative thinking, social awareness, verbal and non-verbal communication, and information processing. I would give a brief on the autism spectrum disorder. So basically, what is ASD? Autism spectrum disorder is a complex developmental condition that involves persistent challenges in social interaction, speech, and non-verbal communication and repetitive behaviors. The effects of ASD and the severity of the symptoms are different in each person. ASD is usually first diagnosed in the childhood with many of the most obvious signs presenting around 2 to 3 years old. But some children with autism develop normally until toddlerhood when they stop acquiring or lose previously gained skills. According to CDC, 1 in 59 children is estimated to have autism. Autism spectrum disorder is also 3 to 4 times more common in boys than in girls, and many girls with ASD exhibit less obvious signs compared to boys. Autism is a lifelong condition. However, many children diagnosed with ASD go on to live independent, productive, and fulfilling their lives. The information here focuses primarily on children and adolescents, and I would now commence to the global awareness on ASD. First of all, I would like to give some tips for the parents, as discussed and as I have gained information about. The parents should have to learn as much as possible about the autism spectrum disorder, provide consistent structure and routine, connect with other parents of children with autism, seek professional help for specific concerns, take time for yourself and other family members. Sometimes it becomes difficult for the parents to tackle the autistic children, and sometimes it may be more time consuming and more money spending. But all all you need to do all parents need to do is efforts. Their efforts does not go in vain when their autistic when their children come out and shine. Working with individuals on the autistic spectrum, efficient organization skills can be area of challenge. These issues can impact academic performance, so proactive support strategies is recommended. As discussed, autistic children should have a proper manner and timetable to work on. If they get busy or if they get along with the task, so they can do and they can learn more and more creatively. Teaching individuals to advocate for their own needs is an important skill that can ease the transition from school age to adulthood. Know that just because of an individual may be non-verbal, he or she is still able to hear and understand much of what is said around them. They can understand all the things. Autistic children are so creative that they can do tasks which a normal person cannot do. They aren't special child or something, but they are just the normal people with creative skills. Perspective taking is challenge for many individuals on the autistic spectrum. Uh, when working with the autistic children and working especially on the disorder of autism, we need to give them particular tasks and particular things which they can learn quickly and understand quickly. Sometimes when we make them watch TV and consecutively we give them a special task, they can learn it quickly, they can approve it quickly, and they can learn quickly. Every individual is different, so it's important to be mindful of sensory input in individual's environment. May that be the tactile input, the auditory input, the sensitive input. They can sense all the things. Just they need to feel it and they need to learn it that how it may occur. For example, if you give the children some food and if you portray a sketch of the taste of it, so they can easily recognize the taste, the tactile input, and how it may look like. Break tasks down in smaller steps, showing pictures of each step, modeling the task, and saying each step out loud can help facilitate learning. Set students up for success and provide rewards when goals are reached. Try to keep language as simple as possible by using minimal words when making your point or providing information. Avoid the use of sarcasm and idioms as they may be taken literally. Be as concrete as possible. Unstructured activities and wait time can be a source of anxiety and confusion for some individuals. Specific direction and checklist of what to do during the unstructured activities can be beneficial. Bringing a wait time activity, for example, book toys, can help ease this anxiety. So they may be busy in a task and they would forget all the anxiety around them. Individuals on spectrum will read our emotional level about a situation, use a calm tone and voice, and avoid physical touching with the individual, even in midst of behavior outbursts. Excited adults yield excited children. Practice your poker face. We always need to ease on them. We need to love them. We need to care for them. Apart from being harsh to them, they all just the autistic children need is love. Many individuals with autism spectrum disorder may be less likely to communicate for social purposes and will need to practice their conversation skills. Here again, I would talk about the tips for parents and the caregivers. Keep a record of treatment options and medications you try, and how your children respond, how your child responds to each one. As you interact with multiple professions, this information will be helpful. Going to some organizations or some psychologists or psychiatrists can help you give more options to what to do about your children, the autistic children, and how we can make them cope up with this disease. Many times, an individual with ASD will display an undesirable behavior due to the lack of ability to communicate. Argumentative and alternative communication is a communication method that can realize speech or writing. If a child with ASD is having difficulty communicating or being understood, they may benefit from some type of AAC. Getting dressed, eating breakfast, and brushing teeth are activities for which some individuals with with ASD may require assistance. Many a times they aren't able to do the task on their own. So parents and caregivers just need to help them out with each and every task and make them learn how to do it. Help your child play with others. Teach them to share and take turns through the use of visuals, modeling, prompting, and practice. Basically, sometimes the autistic children does not like to play with others, and they tend to live alone. They tend to play alone. So all we need to is invite some people, invite other children like the child, and make him or her play about it. Tips for school personnel. Remember to individualize visual supports to match the student's abilities and interests. For some breaks, calming strategies and movement should be considered as a part of daily routine. Inconsistency in schedules can cause some individuals to feel overwhelmed. So a predetermined routine should be implemented daily. As discussed above, providing breaks and calming techniques only after a problem behavior occurs may inadvertently increase the likelihood of that behavior occurring in the future. By using a respectful and proactive approach, the individual will build self-esteem and confidence as well as reduce anxiety. If a student is not able to perform a task, consider whether the request is too abstract. We just don't need to be abstract. We just need to be direct to the autistic children, and we just have to know how to deal with them. And just as I discussed about, we need to love them more and more so they can be comfortable with us. All they need is to be comfortable with the one who loves them. Uncertainty creates anxiety that increases the risk of tantrums, aggression, and meltdowns. Individuals on autistic spectrum need a reassurance and information about upcoming events and changes, as discussed. And commencing with a proper routine and timetable helps them do their task easily and more efficiently. Individuals with ASD often have difficulty generalizing skills from one setting to another. A student who has learned to initiate conversations with the lunchroom may not be able to initiate conversation on the playground. The most important part of my presentation is that the organization in India, which is spreading awareness and understanding about the autism. I have talked about a few of organizations which are really working hard and are very profounded in dealing with the autism and its disorder. Firstly, I would like to talk about the first schools of autism which were established. The first executive school of autism affected youth, called Open Door, was established in 1994. In the late 1990s, 15 such schools sprung up across the country with an enrollment ranging from 15 to 70 students in each, according to a report published by Rehabilitation Council of India. In the year 1991, some of the parents of children affected with autism started the Action for Autism initiative to support people affected with the disorder. By the turn of century, quite a few organizations as well as schools began opening up across the country, like Ashiana Communication, DEALL, Developmental Center for Exceptional Children, Priyanj, and Weekend. Today, this number has increased even further. So, talking about the present situation, there are more than 40 organizations, special schools, parent supports, and speech, as well as behavioral therapy centers to help people affected with autism. The firstly and the most reliant foundation in India is Tanay Foundation. The founder of the Tanay Foundation is Meenakshi Agrawal, whose son Tanay was detected with the autism in 1999, which led her to consultations with medical professionals and therapists to understand his need. Armed with this knowledge, she went up to set Tanay Foundation in 2012 at Ahmedabad. The foundation offers a slew of support services for autistic children, including counseling sessions and early communication interventions, vocational training, and activity-based learning modules for children. They have focused on certain vital aspects like agronomics, body mechanics, and stress management as a part of their timetable. Basically, the Tanay Foundation also moves along and focuses on the kinesiology of each and every children to help them complete the task, to help them move along quickly and help them to play with other children, basically. Tane Foundation also holds sensory therapy sessions for children who are excessively sensitive to light, sounds, and smells so that they can be comfortable in an atmosphere. Additionally, these sessions include modules on handwriting as well as motor skills. Assisted living for autistic adults, ALFAA. Ruby Singh started ALFAA in Bangalore in 2009 to create good living conditions and vocational opportunities for adults with autism. The organization offers daycare and residential facilities at its 2.25-acre campus. These are some global charities which are working for the autism very lately. The Medical Project, National Autistic Society, Next for Autism, Organization for Autism Research, Southwest Autism Research and Resource Center, the Star Institute, Turning Point, Autism Foundation, UC Davis My Institute. Thank you very much for giving me opportunity, and I would really like my university to give such a wonderful opportunity to present a topic on autism, World Autism Awareness Day. Last but not least, I would come up with a thought that autism doesn't come with an instruction guide. It comes with a family who will never give up. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you, Hitat. It is really useful for parents, caregivers, and schools who are working with autism. Now I invite Priya Tiwari for sharing her poster.
Good afternoon, everyone. Here, my poster is based on symptoms of autism. I have mentioned some symptoms of autism. First is lack of eye contact. Second,
Priya,
unusual.
first of all, share your screen. It is
Sorry,
not
ma'am.
visible. It is not visible. First of all,
Okay.
share your screen on your camera, then after present. Yes, now it is visible. Go ahead. Priya, you are not audible. Priya, turn on your mic. You are not audible. Yes. Now go ahead.
Uh, Fifth is repetition of a word and a phrase. Sixth is underdeveloped sense of a danger. And seventh is a reduced sensitivity to a pain. Eighth is difficulty in a communication and a speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. It's really nice. Next presentation will given by Kaushal Soni. Kaushal, share your presentation.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone.
Yes.
I am Kaushal Soni from first year BA Psychology, Rai University, Ahmedabad. My PPT is based on the awareness of autism or how it affects the autistic people. What are the complications they face due to autism, their patterns of behavior, and what are the causes of autism. Autism. Autism is also called autism spectrum disorder. ASD is a complicated condition that includes problems with the communication and behavior. It can involve a wide range of symptoms and skills. ASD can be a minor problem or a disability that needs full time care in a special facility. People with autism have trouble with communication. They have trouble understanding what other people think and feel. This makes it hard for them to express themselves either with words or through gestures, facial expressions, and touch. We need to care about them. People with autism might have problems with learning, their skills might develop unevenly. For example, they could have trouble communicating but be unusually good at art, maths, music, or memory or music. Because of this, they might do especially well on tests of analysis of problem solving. More children are diagnosed with autism now than ever before, but the latest numbers could be higher because of changes in how it's diagnosed, not because more children have a disorder. What are the patterns of the behavior? A child or adult with autism spectrum disorder may have limited repetitive patterns of behavior, interests, or activities, including any of these signs. Performs repetitive movements such as rocking, spinning, and flapping. Performs activities that could cause self harm, such as biting and head banging. Develops specific routines or rituals and becomes disturbed at the slightest change of the routine. Has problems with coordination or has odd movement patterns such as clumsiness or walking on toes, and has odd, stiff, or exaggerated body language. Is fascinated by details of an object such as spinning wheels of a toy car but doesn't understand the overall purpose of or function of the object. They do not understand the mechanism, is usually sensitive to light, sound, or touch, yet may be indifferent to pain or temperature, doesn't engage in imitative or make believe play, fixates on an objects or activity with abnormal intensity or focus, has specific food preferences such as eating only a few food or refusing food with a certain texture. Now we will talk about the causes. What are the causes? Autism Autism spectrum disorder has no single known cause given the complexity of the disorder and the fact that symptoms and severity vary. There are probably many causes, but genetics and environmental play a role in it. Genetics. Several different genes appear to be involved in autism spectrum disorder. For some children, autism spectrum disorder can be associated with a genetic disorder, such as Rett syndrome or a Fragile X syndrome. For other children, genetic changes, mutations may increase the risk of autism spectrum disorder. Still, other genes may affect brain development or the way that brain cells communicate, or they may determine the severity of the symptoms. Some genetic mutations seem to be inherited, while others occur spontaneously. What are the environmental factors that affect? Researchers are currently exploring whether factors such as viral infections, medications, or complications during pregnancy or air pollution play a role in triggering autism spectrum disorder. What are the complications they face due to autism? Problem with social interaction and communication and behavior can lead to problem in the school and with successful learning, employment problem, they don't get jobs, inability to live independently, they are always dependent on others, social isolation, they are kept away from the society, stress within the family, and victimization and get bullying. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Kaushal. It's really informative. Thank you, Ernest. Now I invite Sonia for sharing her poster. Sonia Sunkar.
Very good afternoon to one and all present here. I am Sonia Sonkar from first year BA Psychology from Rai University, Ahmedabad. My poster is based on differential diagnosis. There are the different types of disorders of autism spectrum disorder. So the first one is Rett syndrome. Here, disruption of social interaction may be observed during the regressive phase of Rett syndrome. It occurs typically between the age of 1 to 4 years. Thus, a substantial proportion of affected young girls may have a presentation that meet diagnostic criteria for autism spectrum disorder. As you can see in the images here. The second one is selective mutism. It is a complex childhood anxiety disorder characterized by child's inability to speak and communicate effectively socially, such as in school. These children are able to speak and communicate where they are comfortable and relaxed. The third one is language disorder and social communication disorder. This disorder includes deficits in social interaction, social cognition, and pragmatics. Specific behaviors affected by social communication disorder depends on individual's age. The fourth one is stereotypic movement disorder. It is a condition in which a person makes repetitive purposeless movements. This can be hand waving, body rocking, or head banging. The movements interfere with normal activity or may cause bodily harm. The fifth one is attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder, a chronic condition including av- attention difficulty, hyperactivity, and impulsiveness. ADHD often begins in childhood and can persist into adulthood. It may contribute to low self esteem, troubled relationship, and difficulty at school or work. The sixth one is schizophrenia, a disorder that affects a person's ability to think, feel, and behave clearly. The exact cause of schizophrenia isn't known, but a combination of genetics, environment, and altered brain chemistry and structure may be played a role. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Sonia. It's really attractive and useful for everyone. Now I invite Krishna Parekh for sharing her poster.
Yes, ma'am. Um, Good afternoon. My name is Krishna Parekh. I'm from first year BA Psychology from Rai University. Today, I'm gonna talk about the treatments which are used for the person suffering from autism. First of all, autism is also known as autism spectrum disorder (ASD). ASD impacts the nervous system and affect the overall cognitive, emotional, social, and physical health of affected individual. Treatments, there are two types of treatments which come under the treatment. First is therapies and second is medication. Therapies include anger management, family therapy, applied behavior analysis, behavior therapy, sensory processing, animal assisted therapy, telepractice. And medication comes under anti which reduces or improves the symptoms of certain psychiatric condition. As you can see, I've drawn a speaker and a light at which shows that they are sensitive to light and sensitive to sound. Also, treatment can be help, but this condition can be cured. Chronic can last for years or be lifelong. Requires a medical diagnosis, lab test, or imaging rarely required. More than 1 million cases per year we can found in India. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Krishna. It's very informative. Now I invite Aarti Sadhu to show her prepared poster. Rotate your screen, beta.
My name is Sadhu Arti from BA Psychology, first year, Rai University. Don't judge what you don't understand.
Thank you, Aarti. At the end of the event, I request Dr. Asisar for vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, madam. Okay. Very good afternoon to respected Provost sir, Dr. Anil Tomar sir, our Registrar Professor Lalit Adhikari sir, Deputy Registrar Academics Professor Virendra Singh Nagoria, Mr. Sundar Rajan, who is President Autism Society of India, Mr. Michael Vimal Pillai, who is Vice President Western Region Autism Society of India, all the faculty members, students, and participants from across the nation. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on the occasion of webinar on World Autism Awareness Day. I am very glad that we have got a huge response and we have so many number of participants from across this nation. I sincerely thank our Provost, Dr. Anil Tomar sir, for providing an opportunity, giving mentorship, and giving permission to organize the webinar at Rai University, Ahmedabad. I earnestly thank to our guest and speaker, Mr. Sundar Rajan sir, who is President Autism Society of India, for accepting our invitation and enlighten the webinar by sharing his experience and knowledge about autism spectrum disorder. I am also grateful to Mr. Michael Vimal Pillai, Vice President, Western Region Autism Society of India, for giving his mentorship and help for organizing this event on autism awareness. I congratulate all the students and faculty, Dr. Pooja Thakur from Department of Psychology, Rai School of Liberal Studies, Rai University, for organizing the webinar for such a noble cause on awareness of autism. At last, I cannot forget to acknowledge all the participants without whom the event could not be a grand success. I'm sure this webinar on awareness about autism would have given some understanding on the topic, which is not highlighted or neglected by the society due to less awareness. So at last, thank you very much to one and all.
Thank you very much, sir. I especially thank you for our BA psychology student who manage all whole the seminar. Thank you very much.
Sundarshan, thank you very much for giving your precious time.
So please unmute yourself. We can't hear your voice.
Thank you very much for bringing autism as a subject on this day. And I hope that in future, more of these students who are presented, tomorrow they are going to be a future assets to us, to work with our children. So
Yes.
we look forward to encouraging such programs in future also, so that we can move ahead with more confidence. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.